I want you to think back for a second. Before all this stress, before college, before the mountains of homework and the public speaking speeches, no offense, Professor Leonard, I want you to sink back onto that couch on a Saturday morning before your feet could even properly touch the floor, watching Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck argue about what hunting season it was, or SpongeBob and Squidward delivering that Krusty Krab pizza. Those were good times, weren't they? But we've got to move beyond that now. After all, we're all basically adults, and cartoons, well, they're just for kids. But why do we believe that? And more importantly, why is that wrong? And most importantly, and most central to this speech, why should you watch more animation? Now, if you can't tell, film and entertainment is a passion of mine, and it saddens me that animation is so widely viewed as a children's medium, because the bottom line is, it's not just that. I intend to convince you today that animation is a wonderful genre, and while certain factors have contributed to it being viewed as a children's genre, it's so much more than that, and hopefully you will want a lot more from it by the end of this speech. Now, first of all, it's important to know what factors contribute to this belief in the first place. And a big thing that fuels the fire are some studio practices. Film critic Matthew Brunet states that family movies, rated G or PG, tend to be relatively risk-free, so studios will tend to play it safe with these big-budget, expensive animated films. This practice began all the way back with Walt Disney, who would market his films towards children and families in order to get the largest viewer base possible. In addition, TV shows tend to be marketed towards children rather than older audiences because kids just have a lot more free time than adults. Now, after leaving the studio, this kind of transforms into a cultural stigma. Because most animated media is for kids, older audiences can be reluctant or even downright embarrassed to consume animated media without a child to accompany. Some people can be hesitant to admit that they're watching Cartoon Network or going out to see the latest thing that DreamWorks or Illumination put out. Now, as of right now, I can't do anything about studios or their money-making practices, so alternatively, I'll do my best to unravel this cultural stigma for all of you, because at the end of the day, animation is a wonderful medium that can produce content for all age demographics. Now, first of all, it's important to know that kids' shows are not just for children to watch and enjoy. Tom Kenny, the voice actor for the ever-popular SpongeBob, explains why he thinks his show is elevated beyond just ordinary show status by stating that the characters are very archetypal and relatable. Everybody, once in their life, at least, are going to meet a greedy Mr. Krabs, a dim Patrick, or a joyless Squidward. Other shows on kids' networks, such as Adventure Time, or Steven Universe, or even Avatar The Last Airbender, may seem childish at first, but if you look into them and watch them, you'll notice that they have very rich storylines, and sometimes can boast some incredibly impressive animation. And on that note, animation can convey emotion, tell stories, and show action in a way that some live-action media just can't sometimes. Animation allows for a suspension of disbelief that just seems unnatural in live-action media, such as some colors, certain feats of physics, or some character designs. And on a side note, I do want to mention that there is animation out there made specifically for mature audiences. If you're looking for more mature humor, there's shows like Rick and Morty. If you're in search of some more graphic violence, there's shows like Invincible. If you're just looking for a long-running classic, there's shows like South Park. Now, after all this, I may have convinced you to hop on Netflix or Disney Plus after this and watch some shows and movies that you've been reluctant about. However, if I haven't, I want you to think about it this way. Writing off animation as a whole as for kids cuts you off from a whole medium full of incredible content and wonderful creators. Think about it the other way around. I don't live-action media. Doesn't that statement seem weird? Like it misses the nuances and complexities that live action can take down all avenues? The same is true for animation. So many wonderful animated movies have come out in recent years, such as Soul, Into the Spider-Verse, or Luca. So many that I'd argue that you'd be missing out not watching these works, because in my opinion, stuff like these are works of art. Now, to sum it all up in one neat package, animation is an art form. An art form that, by studio and marketing practices and cultural stigmas, has become diluted in the public eye as nothing more than a medium for children's entertainment, but in reality is an incredible way for filmmakers to take audiences on a cinematic experience in which characters can come in all shapes and sizes, where physics can be treated with reckless abandon, and where stories can be insanely vibrant or relatively muted, flowing with action or more reserved, all with the change of an art style. Now by this point, I hope I've sparked something in you to go out and venture into animation. Some that may be completely new to you and has piqued your interest, or something old, familiar, and nostalgic. Either way, that's a good thing. And if you needed it, this is your sign. Go out and watch The Iron Giant, or Mulan, or Ratatouille. Go back and watch Adventure Time, or Regular Show, or Avatar. Go abroad and watch JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, or One Punch Man, or a Death Note. Hell, binge the first 3 seasons of SpongeBob and the SpongeBob movie. But most importantly, and I cannot stress this enough, watch what you want to watch. Not what anybody else says that you can or can't. Thank you for your time.